Welcome to Astrology Intuition with Amy Lynn. I'm Amy, an intuitive astrologer, healer, and therapist. I'm here to bring you grounding, healing, awakening, and a deeper connection to your soul through the timeless language and energy system of astrology. Let's get started. This episode will cover the full moon in Taurus 2025, the kind of last half of Scorpio season that we're in here. And then I have a little special extra bonus. I just started a Substack. It's also called Astrology Intuition. I hope you'll join me over there. And what I'm going to do at the end of this episode is read from my most recent Substack writing. It's been really fun for me to get back to some writing. I feel like the Substack is kind of this analog place that I can, um, it's not quite working with my hands, but I'm hoping to get more into art making and some of my original foundational ways of being creative in the world. But anyhow, so what I'll do is I'll talk you through the chart of the full moon first, and then you'll hear me shift into reading to you from my Substack. I kind of like the idea of creative writing as a way to learn astrology. So, like the storytelling might be a way to deepen your understanding of the zodiac signs and the planets and the lunar cycles and the things that we're living through. But as always, I'm always telling my astrology clients and my therapy clients to learn and understand astrology through living your life. So apply these things to you and your experiences. And also, pardon my very casual approach. I run a full-time therapy practice, a full-time healing center here in Colorado, and I have three teenage boys, so my life is crazy. So I hit record and I say what I say, and it doesn't get edited, and I piece these together because I just want to get the healing and the energetic information out to you to be able to work with it. So thank you for being here. Please subscribe to my channel. You can find me in the show notes or all my links to all the places where you can find me. So I hope to connect with you somewhere soon. Happy full moon in Taurus. It is happening exactly at 6:19 a.m. Mountain Time on Wednesday, November 5th. Of course, we feel full moons leading up to the time that they happen and a little bit afterwards. How many of you have been sleeping, like not sleeping because the sky is so bright? This is also a super moon, and that means that the moon is a little bit closer to the earth, which just feels like more. It feels like more feelings, more energy, more light, more illumination. Um, Anytime we have a full moon, it is in opposition. So we always have the sun across from the moon. So here's the moon over here in Taurus. Here's the sun currently in Scorpio. This is like a super Scorpio chart if you're here in Colorado and in like the mountain time zone, basically, you're gonna also have this Scorpio rising energy to the chart of the moon. And so to me, this is like we're always talking about the axis being lit up with the moon, the Scorpio to Taurus in this case, which is a very intense axis to begin with. Taurus is very embodied, and Scorpio is very intuitive and emotional. And so it's like we're feeling all of that. We're feeling our intuition, we're feeling our emotions, we're feeling our bodies, and we're feeling reality in the tangible sense of it, but we're also feeling what's unknown or unclear because that's one of the things that lives across this axis. Another theme of energy that lives across this axis is security, the idea of trust. Can I trust being okay here? Can I trust what I don't know? Can I trust the earth? There's also the situational reality, the context that you're in your local community, in your family, and wherever you are on the planet, the things that are happening in the background, the politics, etc., is always going to also kind of color or flavor how these moons show up. A full moon is oftentimes a release, an ending, a completion point. So there's also that. But this one has this feel to me, anytime the cliche is like when something ends, another thing begins, right? But every full moon has that vibe of like there's something closing out because something is going to come forward next. But this one particularly has this very strong threshold energy to me. And I think there's a lot of reasons why. Let me break them down for you. I haven't actually thought these through like in a list order, so I'm just kind of going off the cuff with which comes through first. But there's a threshold energy because we are gathering what's coming next. There's like this nextness, and that's a huge astrological note that's happening in February, where there really is a new Earth consciousness kind of energy happening when we have the February 20th conjunction between Neptune and Saturn at the 0 Aries degree point. And that is like those of us paying attention to the energies, we're feeling this rise up in ourselves. We're feeling a personal experience of a new form of ourselves, a new version of ourselves, an evolution, a phoenix rising might be, that's a very Scorpio energy. Something like that that's trying to come through and come forward. And this moon feels to me like one of the last goodbye moments before we're kind of opening this threshold space that we're sort of trusting to move through. It's like deep water, like when you can't really see underwater, but you have to kind of swim through it. That's kind of how this Scorpio part of this energy feels to me right now. This full moon also has, do you see this trine right here? So there's a trine energy happening between Jupiter and Cancer, which we love, which is supportive. It can be a little too judgy or idealistic on its worst day. Like it's not always amazing, but generally speaking, it's a very supportive energy. And then we have at the tail end of Pisces, we have Neptune and Saturn trining that Jupiter. We also have the North Node kind of having just been through this spot, which always brings this kind of karmic energy. Sorry, my dog is wanting my attention right now. And then at the other point of the trine, we actually have the personal planets taking turns at the tail end of Scorpio. So we just had Mercury moved through there a little bit ago. Mars just moved through there. Both of them are now in Sagittarius as of the time of the moon. The sun will be moving through. This is where I'm looking. I have to keep one hand on my dog, and I have to hold my Instagram phone. Then I don't have a hand for the mouse. Anyway, so the sun will come through here and eventually Venus will come through here. Interestingly, we do have a Mercury retrograde coming up. Mercury will be retrograde from November 9th to the 19th, from about 6 degrees of Sagittarius back into Scorpio and then back forward again. And so Mercury is actually hitting the third point of the trine 3 times total. So I think Mercury has like a very special role in this trine energy. So it's amazing when we have a trine, like always, it's always a strong supportive energy. It's a little more rare to have 3 alignments rather than just talking about a single trine would be like Jupiter here trining Saturn, for example. But we're talking about 2 outer planets near conjunct, an outer planet over here, and then all the personal planets taking turns at this point. So that it's kind of like everyone's getting aligned, everyone's getting on the same page. The trine is a grand water trine, meaning it's happening in 3 water signs, which gives it a rush of intuition and emotion and flow. The idea being like, go with the flow if you can. That's making me think of something else. Oh, um, I lost it again. I really can't be recording these things at night. I just can't find words this time of night, which is also the water trine. It's just being your feels and your intuition, not thinking, get out of your thinky. I do like to tell people, I know people get a little freaked out by the Mercury retrogrades. I love them. I love them for slowing down the thinking mind. As a therapist, I'm always like, get out of your thinking mind. And I feel like retrogrades support that as long as you can like go there, you know. And if you look at the glyph of Mercury, this little guy here with his little antenna, um, I think of Mercury as really helping us slow down into channeling, into our intuitive knowing, whatever your clear senses are, direct knowing, seeing, feeling, hearing, whatever they are for you. You might have a range of those. And when Mercury is retrograde, it's like we can align more with our knowing and our receptors. So I actually love that. And I love the place where Mercury's retrograding back across this trine, which is like super rare supportive energy with the outer planets being, in late degrees of signs, which late degrees always have a stronger sense of maturity, evolution, wisdom. So it's bringing the wisest energies of Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. And the Mercury is going to travel back to kind of like remember like what's here. I actually think a lot of us are going to have past life memories of remembering back what's here, this kind of Scorpio edge of the grand water trine. And then Mercury's going to bring it back forward towards the end of November, moving back into Sagittarius, which brings things to expansion, to an outward direction, to possibly sharing, teaching some of the things that Mercury remembered in the Scorpio chambers I'm feeling is over here. Also a way, like I was trying to think of like, I always try to simplify this because there's so much information. And so I was thinking of the word coherence, and I was thinking if there's one word that this full moon really resonates, it's coherence. And coherence is energy frequency being aligned or harmonic with itself. Okay. So if you can think of music, like you can think of music being harmonious versus notes that just scratch a chalkboard and don't work together. This full moon is giving us the chance to release anything that is inharmonious, incoherent, not matching with our highest vibrational state. If you're like a time person, if you're a Saturn, Capricorny, like kind of like those energies, or if you just think this is cool because you like to follow lunar patterns, maybe you are a Cancer and your sun is ruled by the moon. I think it's fun to follow lunar gestational cycles. And those are longer periods of time where we follow the moon cycle from a new moon to a 9 months later, first quarter moon check-in, to a full moon 18 months later, to last quarter moon 9 months after that, creating 27 total months. My dog, can you get the dog? She's like kind of going crazy. I need backup when I'm live. Anyway, so the gestational lunar cycle started on May 7th of 2024 when there was a new moon in Taurus around the same 13, 14 degree point of Taurus right here. Okay. So that would have been a time, especially if you have planets or points around the mid degrees of the fixed signs, the earth signs, that would have been a time where you were planting seeds, letting something start to percolate for you, beginning to make something real through intention, where you were, maybe it was connected to security, maybe it was connected to other Taurus themes like just comfort, sustenance, pleasure, creation, Venusian kinds of things. Even like a sweetness and a love. One of my favorite archetypes for Taurus is Ferdinand the Bull. So if you know that story, he just loved to sit and smell the roses. So was something happening for you that you were trying to create that was about stillness and beauty and appreciation? Maybe it's about the house that you have in Taurus. So who knows what it is for you, but this could be a time where you're at a completion point 18 months later from that day, where something is ending, resolving, resulting, releasing, kind of like, but for the purposes, if we bring that energetic flow into this timeline that I'm talking about, the grand water trine, helping us find our way through the mystery to this threshold that we're pushing through to the new earth, to the new consciousness, I think you might be able to track the story, especially what I thought about the Mercury retrograde back into Scorpio to this third point of the trine being really about gathering past life wisdom, like all the knowing in your bones is what else I want to say. If you could just sit and meditate with all the knowing in your bones, I think that will give you some really good information. Water energy is always good for dreams and dream healing. So going to sleep with intention to heal, intention to receive information, to connect with certain energies or supports or angels or things that help you feel whole and secure. Again, help you trust, which is this axis, Taurus to Scorpio. I also just want to say, did I say this last time? Three-eye atlas, I know, like A lot of people don't really care. I think it's cool. This interstellar object, unidentified, flying through our solar system like so directly, it's like insane. Like it's mathematically insane that it's doing what it's doing. But my take on it, there's a lot of spiritual garbage, junk food out there in the world, right? And take whatever, believe what you want to believe, find your own truth. That's the next 20 years of Pluto and Aquarius is find your own truth. But I felt Three Eye Atlas being just almost like a neutral but new consciousness, like an opening of consciousness. And so wherever it's traveling in our solar system, it's kind of like duck goosing, waking up some consciousness to what it's near and closest to. And so just last week, God, time is really weird right now. On the 29th, Three Eye Atlas was the closest to the sun. The sun is knowing information, shining the full light on things. Especially in Scorpio, it's like shining the light in all the corners of the cave and in the underground and like digging and excavating and bringing things up to the surface. And so have you personally experienced anything around new consciousness to some previously unexplored or undiscovered part of yourself? Is there something new trying to come through? I think the message of that in for you internally is that that is part of this threshold experience of opening up to something, expanding into new consciousness related to how your kind of even frequency might shift, your being might shift as we move toward the new earth energies really being pinned in through this conjunction February 20th in the new year. I'm doing a year ahead class. Make sure you like follow my stuff for that because I've been working with energies already for next year. It's so fun to do that. I think I'm even going to do like a work group, like where I'm just participating and we're all just like sitting on Zoom in person here at my healing center and just like going through the year together. People that know enough about astrology, or you don't really have to. I can kind of talk about it a little bit, but anyway, in the class, I actually make you a journal with your chart and I help you understand exactly where the points, the big points of the year are going to be like activating your chart. Um, okay. So what else do I want to say about that? Working with coherence, I'm going to get back to that topic. Oh, no, wait, hang on. I want to finish Three Eye Atlas. So Three Eye Atlas is moving, most recently was close to Mars, which was actually before it was close to the sun, which I think did bring maybe some waves of peace if I want to like get a little spiritual junk food about it. But did you crack open in mid to late October a new way, a new consciousness around Mars related themes, masculine energies, your body, the way you do things, how you initiate? Is there something that shifted? Did you expand or open up? And then Three Atlas is going to be moving toward Jupiter, which I love. I love everything about Jupiter. But how I'm seeing that is like not just opening consciousness. Oh, my phone's going to die, so the live is over. Three Eye Atlas is actually going to get close to Venus next, which is opening our consciousness to how we love, how we feel love, how we receive love, how we take in love. And then, hey, Bri, can you plug my phone in for me? Sorry, podcast friends. I am a full-time psychotherapist. I own my own practice. I also own a healing center. I also own a school for intuitive astrology and have three children who are teenagers who are dynamic people with a lot going on. So when I record these for you, I am doing like 10 things at once. So I'm on a live on Instagram, which you're always welcome to also join. I try to do them as much as I can for the new and the full moons, just kind of help people understand the energies. And then my husband, Brian, and I always do a free Reiki circle. It's just a healing meditation that you can do from anywhere. And this is just a give that we give to the world that we do every single new moon, every single full moon we have for years. We have about 200 people in our text message thread that follows that. You're welcome to join that. I will always have in the show notes how you do that. You text a word to a number, so you opt yourself in. It should be down below. Anyhow, so sometimes when I'm doing these videos, you'll be like, why is Amy all over the place? Because I'm literally sitting at my kitchen table
with my dogs needing my attention and my life in the backdrop and my hair fresh out of the shower after hot yoga. And I'm like absolutely authentically myself and just a human sitting here ad-libbing this whole thing. And I'm like holding my phone and talking on Instagram to the people who connect with me there, which is more of the people in my direct local Colorado sphere. Anyway, so I'm just letting you know where I'm at. I do have hopes in the new year to make a little more time for some production, like quality updates. I'll take this is like my little commercial break, I guess. I just started a Substack, and my Substack, my Instagram handle, and my YouTube channel are all now called Astrology Intuition, which is also sort of like a system that I work with that I teach people how to access intuition through astrology and to access astrology through intuition. So it's kind of this crisscross weave. I have some really cool classes coming up. I actually have one on the 14th on money in your chart. You can get a discounted reading of your chart and money topics with it. But the class itself is energetics of money and how to unblock money challenges, and also some like super practical, like financial advisor level type stuff for how to work with your money energies within the currency and the reality of the money you actually have or will soon have. So you also get a 3 month kind of channeled plan that has like practical reality too. It's a really cool class. It's a 2 hour class. It's $88. It's on the 14th. I'll link that below the show notes too. What else do I have like that? I'll put the year ahead stuff probably in the next podcast. I don't have that listed anywhere yet, but that's going to be really exciting and fun. I do have a group forming that's a more kind of sacred, ongoing year-long container called the Temple. If anybody wants like deeper spiritual work in a small curated group of amazing humans, people can come live in person to Colorado where I am or to just be on Zoom. It works lovely both ways. I do a lot of programming that's done in a hybrid setting like that. And we start with the winter solstice. We're going to be meeting quarterly for like longer, really beautiful, really connected, intuitive deep dives on really kind of like living in your highest state of the resonance of your soul, and then how to do that and live that out in tangible reality and situational reality in the months between our sacred gatherings. There's going to be tools. I pull a lot from my experience as a trauma therapist, a lot with like nervous system tools and like really getting your system to a state of peace and stillness is will go a very long way in helping you manifest all the things in your life and heal the layers. Anyway, okay. Enough of my commercial break. Back to the moon. So, Thray Atlas, blah, blah, blah. That's my little side note. I love thinking about it and talking about it. We don't really know what it is or what it's doing. We haven't witnessed this before. So, any astrologer talking about it is just guessing and having fun. Same with me. But I do love the idea that it's like opening up or cracking open a new expansion of consciousness as it kind of duck gooses planets and the sun and like moves through our solar system. I think that's really cool. I'm excited to see what happens with Venus. That's 3i Atlas will be closest to Venus on November 9th, also the day Mercury stations retrograde. I feel like this Mercury retrograde is like really, really powerful. I always think that it is, but this one especially. So I hope you can like really rest easy in like trusting your own Mercury vibes and your receptors and your channel and your intuition versus getting caught up in the matrix level of the Mercury retrograde energy. Um, there has been a lot of Chiron activity. I'm just going to say this too, because I know that a lot of people who are in my orbit are around my age. I might be a little older than some of you guys. I'm almost 50. But anybody who is moving in the years towards your Chiron return, which is at 50 when that happens, um, so anybody that's right now at that age, like if you're in your like mid to upper 40s, you are either in or about to be in Pluto, transiting Pluto, squaring your natal Chiron. I'm just here to be like, you'll be okay. You'll make it through. The position of my Chiron is such that the entire month of October And even right now, still, I'm in a real exact closeness to my natal Chiron degree, with Pluto just like hovering as it stations. And it is just like the hits keep coming, like the healing keeps happening. Just when you're like, I've healed it all. I've been focusing on healing for 10 years, 15 years, my whole life. Like I came in with all this complex trauma stuff to work through, or like whatever your story is, it's just something that we generationally aligned with, incarnated with this timing to be doing like we probably all have had a point in our lives where we could no longer ignore the thing that needed to heal. And that's been like leading us up to this point on the planet where we have this decade of the 2020s, which is like, in addition to being a total shit show, chaotic, intense, potent insanityville time, it's also that we've been able to do a ton of healing. If you can find gratitude for that, even for 20 seconds, I think that will help. But you will get through it. You'll get through Pluto squaring Chiron. I promise it has not been easy. I feel like I'm mostly ahead in time of many of you guys listening. But the more you can kind of see that out on the horizon and find your dates, reach out to me. I will make a video to show you how to find it and put it somewhere so you can find it, so you can track this ahead of time. Um, but there's also been a lot of transiting Chiron energies happening as well. We just had Venus opposing Chiron. There's been this cardinal T square happening with Venus, Chiron, and Jupiter, which is just like tightening that feeling of this needs to heal, this has to go. But I want to remind you, you can like directly with planets. They have archetypal, personified energetics that can almost materialize like a mentor or an angel guide type of energy. And you can just talk to Chiron. You can meet with Chiron. Chiron helps me choose my tinctures every day. Like, what do I need? What's the medicine I need? But Chiron, in the most positive vibration, reminds us to take the medicine, to get the support, to get the healing, to um anybody who's followed me forever, this dog Kaylee always barks when I'm talking about Chiron. It's just how it goes. Anyway, um, so I'm going to cut this short here because we have to get to our Reiki circle, which is a timed thing that we offer to our people. So I'm going to let go of the podcast, but find me on Substack. I'm going to try to have that be my main hub. It feels kind of more analog to me. Like I kind of work it on paper with pens and doodles first, and then bring that into some typing into Substack. And then it kind of holds a more analog quality for my 1976 self. And from there, I'm going to then expand out into what I'm trying to do in a more organized way with my content, getting you information to use astrology for healing and radical self-acceptance so that we can show up in our highest and brightest authentic soul frequency and give our love out to the world and make this earth more humane, more loved, more whole in all of our communities, in all of our spaces, so that hopefully we can really evolve to the new earth energies, which are so like there's such a chance for that coming in the next few years to really be a reality. I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but there really is a lot of hope. So hang with us. Um, Substack again is Astrology Intuition. I have a whole free level, and then I have for $11 a month. It is like the lowest touch point I have. You can get the day by day energetics so it's month by month, but it's a solar month. What I mean is like Scorpio season, and then we'll get to Sag season, and I'm like adding little bits to it beyond just like the first initial writing and dates and stuff. So there'll be little surprises and little notes along the way that are extra more than I do in my podcast and my Instagram lives. So I really hope to connect with you there. I think it's a really beautiful place to connect. So thank you for being out there. I wish you so much healing and hope and connection to your heart and connection to your soul. I hope that this Mercury retrograde brings you so much wisdom and information that you can really absorb and harmonize so you can be in the most coherent state with your soul frequency and your bones. And I will see you back here in a couple weeks. I will be back for the new moon in Scorpio. I think we're going to know a whole lot more by that time we meet up again. So take care out there, and I hope to see you soon.
So I would love to invite you to my new Substack, Astrology Intuition. And as part of this podcast episode, I'm going to read you my most recent full moon in Taurus. A little excerpt here. Obsessed, trusting, aching, a quiet pull from deep beneath the surface. Surrender. Indexing these gorgeous blooms keeps my heart alive during this process, as I also soften toward the darkness. Beauty and darkness, love and letting go, they always grow together. Still feeling my way through waves of grief on lots of levels, longing for my flowers. They are gone. It's time to let go. This is so Scorpio season of me, sitting on the earth, digging up the tubers that grew my dahlias all summer. My emotions ranging from awe to rage to intense empty stillness and melancholy. The dirt clings to these roots, longing for our summer love affair. Neither of us want to let go. The mountain sun warms my bare back while my fingers nearly freeze in the deep, cold soil. Colorado gives extremes happening all at once. I love the everythingness of this magic place and the Scorpio vibes of this all and nothing energy. This, I think, is the Taurus full moon. A full moon that always happens each year when the sun is in Scorpio and the moon makes its opposition. Exact Wednesday, November 5th, 6:19 a.m. The fixed and focused energy of digging, reaching, loving, and still hoping for beauty, while my awareness moves between the somatic comfort of the warm sun and the rigid ugliness of dead stems in my cold hands. This is the Taurus Scorpio axis in real time. I let myself melt into the Taurus side of life, the sun kissing my shoulders, comforting me in that Venusian way as I sit still on the ground, taking in the leaves around me that are still bright yellow for now, and honoring each precious tuber, remembering the beauty they shared with me all summer. Across the sky, Scorpio waits like a siren, enticing me with her dark, mysterious ways. She yearns to go deeper to investigate. She wants depth and alchemy. She yearns to pull up roots to see what lies beneath. All zodiac signs exist in pairs, opposite each other across the zodiac wheel. Taurus and Scorpio are one of my very favorite pairs. Both sensual, both magnetic, both devoted in their very different ways. Taurus builds, Scorpio transforms. Taurus roots, Scorpio releases. When the full moon stretches between them, it lights up this polarity, the tension between comfort and surrender, matter and mystery, what we hold and what we must let go. I feel this axis in my bones. What do you have in Taurus and Scorpio in your chart? These houses and any planets or points you have there can guide you into your most meaningful and authentic framework to understand these energies within. For me, this energy is held in my lunar nodes. North node pointing me to the Scorpio ways in this lifetime, and my Uranus in Scorpio asking me to awaken from this place. Taurus reminding me I can always feel simplicity and sustenance as I've known that energy here on the earth before. Chiron in Taurus, bringing me to my knees in this lifetime again and again in my body, in the pain and challenge of this earth school, asking me to stay here anyway, and offering me core wound awareness and healing in the earthy Taurus ways, like herbs and seasons and the heartbeat of the redwoods. I have Jupiter in Taurus too, asking me to expand my connection here and remember the richness of this 3D world that I so often stray from. As I brush soil from the roots and tuck the tubers away for winter, a careful and day-long process of devotion, I feel the season's descent, the drawing down into darkness. Scorpio guides us here into the long nights that lead us to the Capricorn solstice. Still, even as I unearth these roots, I'm also planting bulbs, seeds for spring beauty I can't see yet. The Scorpio alchemy moves through me. This too is the medicine of Taurus. To trust in the cycles, to know the earth will hold what we plant, even when the rest of it feels still and cold. Perfectly Taurus full moon process. This moon feels like a threshold, a vibration harmonizing. Something is ready to rise up within us, but just not quite yet. For now, it exists just beneath the surface. The new earth vibration, the next octave of coherence, is calling us to be still and listen. And these full moon skies are alive with more than moonlight. A grand water trine holds us all month in support of our intuition and emotional bodies, reminding us to be in flow with the creative force in the universe. And a cardinal T-square brings us to a choice point, stirring momentum and urging us into the wisdom in Mercury's retrograde, November 9th to the 29th. Here we will be able to slow down and mentally metabolize, to re-listen and realign with what's real and sacred inside. I love Mercury retrogrades for the way they turn up the psychic dial if we let them. Our solar system also has a mysterious interstellar visitor, Three-Eye Atlas, streaking past the sun and heading to the neighborhood of Venus. It feels like an energetic messenger from deep space, stirring new consciousness in us all. What is possible within you? There's so much magic awakening now. If you'd like to keep exploring the deeper astrology, the symbolism, the soul work, and the practical magic of this full moon and more, you can subscribe to my Substack for $11 a month and keep reading Below the Fold, where I share day-by-day astrology transits, my intuitive read on the energetics, and some notes of how to work with these energies in your chart, where to find them, and what you can do. Thank you so much for joining me for Astrology Intuition with Amy Lynn. Before I go, I wanted to invite you to a little class I'm teaching on Friday, November 14th. It's a live class. I do it hybrid. So if you're in the Boulder County area of Colorado, you're welcome to join me at my healing center, but otherwise everyone will be on Zoom. It's happening at 11 a.m. Mountain Time until 1 p.m. The class is $88, and this is called Money Rising. It is all about how to help you align your chart, your energy, and your money flow into abundance, helping you unlock the ways you might be living in old patterns, maybe scarcity, maybe layers of unworthiness, or maybe just a way that your energy field has been siphoned off or not in flow, and allowing yourself to be in receiving all that there is to support you from a currency place. You'll find the registration and a lot more information, better than I'm saying it at this hour of the night, as I'm trying to describe it, in the show notes below. And I hope that you'll connect with me on all my socials so we can keep in touch. I offer these little classes from time to time. Oh, this class also has a discounted mini reading where I'm going to take a peek at your chart, record it for you, and tell you all the money story and patterns that I see in your chart. If you take the workshop for $88, you get the mini reading for $122. But I'm also offering the mini reading
for people who don't take the workshop. And for the people who just want the reading, it's 155. You can find links to purchase that down below. It's also in my link tree in my Instagram bio at Astrology Intuition. So I would really love to help you get situated financially during these times and moving into the new year where there's going to be bigger waves of fluctuation and destabilizing energies happening. And it feels really good to have some real sense of security and empowerment around money and lasting peaceful wealth for yourself. And this workshop, I actually do everything energetically, like we do a lot of the energetics, but it's also very practical action steps that have to actually do with what to do with your money. So it's a really not to miss workshop or course. I hope to be offering it as an online course in the future, but for now, this live chance is the one chance you get. My son in the background. Awesome. Peace out.